SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
I'm Steve Azar, and I'm on the other side of the microphone, meaning I'm asking the questions this time, and oh, have mercy for the airwaves. I spent 20 years in Music City, wrote and made some hits, traveled the world, and then moved my family back to the birthplace of American music and where the magnolia trees prosper. And now every time I put my feet on Mississippi soil, when I'm off the road, well, I'm at peace. On this show, it's all about hearing the stories straight from the mouths of the friends I've made along the way, their journey to success. Heck, there might be someone on, I don't even know, but you know how us Mississippi types are. We tend to take well to new company. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them. I'm Steve Azar. It's just like that muddy river, moving slow. Ain't no worries, it's how life goes, baby. In a Mississippi Minute. Hey folks, time for another In a Mississippi Minute. I am Steve Azar, reminding you that my pals over there in Macon, Mississippi, next to Hell State, produce the catfish. Go to superiorcatfish.com and visit Mississippi.org as your music and culture ambassador of this hallowed ground we call Mississippi. Even though we're talking to a stud of an artist over next door in neighboring Louisiana, New Orleans, that is. We are the birthplace of America's music. So check out, visit Mississippi.org and plan a road trip. I recently road tripped to New Orleans and was actually in town when today's guest was doing his 34th appearance at Jazz Fest. The only reason it's not 35, which is beginning of the festival, it was COVID year, right? It was a COVID year. So otherwise he's played every year, but because of COVID, nobody played that year. He's the front man that plays drums of the unstoppable New Orleans powerhouse, that band Cowboy Mouth. Yes, yes. His musical roots run deep. Before Cowboy Mouth, his first band, Dash Rip Rock, earned fans, including the members of a little band called Hootie and the Blowfish. We're mutual friends of Dean and Sony and Mark and Darius, of course. When Cowboy Mouth first played Columbia, South Carolina, rumor has it there was 5 people in the crowd, and they were members of Hootie and the Blowfish. This show and the meeting sparked a relationship that led to shared stages, sold-out tours, and memories that my guest recalls a wild ride. You know, the good ones are usually wild. From Cajun dance halls to the Greek Theater in Hollywood, he credits Hootie's early support as pivotal in Cowboy Mouth's journey. Their latest album includes a heartfelt tribute to that band with City by a River featuring Hootie's Mark Bryan on lead guitar. My guest today has also been reimagining some classics. Their bluegrassy take on Queen's Fat Bottom Girls recently dropped, and that means drop out there, folks, for you guys who don't know it. That means it's out there. And a fiery version of the Replacements, Can't Hardly Wait. So cool. Also, this says it all. Cowboy Mouth did double duty at this year's Jazz Fest. They played the main stage at around 12:30 and then decided, well, we'll do it again at 10:30 at the Rock and Roll Bowl for another 90 minutes. Why? Because they're that much in demand, that much loved in their hometown, or they're really, like, he's really in good shape. So let's get to it with the leader of the band, Cowboy Mouth, Fred LeBlanc. What's up, Fred?
How you doing, Steve?
It's good to see you. You're in your studio. I'm in mine.
Yeah, I'm in my studio here in Louisiana. Yours is a little more clean. Mine's a little more chaotic. I thrive a little bit more on kind of...
You're only seeing part of it. So
okay.
There's a mess on this side right here where you are. A lot of
I'm
junk.
noticing all the plaques and notifications on the wall and everything like that. It looks pretty impressive. And that Gretsch there, I'm trying to figure out a reason to come visit you so I can steal it.
You see Kermit the Frog on there, right? Hanging out.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a bunch of 20s on there from golf tournaments that we've won that I play these guys, and they have to sign the 20s. And there used to be some hundreds up there, but I think when my kids came home, they took them.
Oh, that's...
So anyway, it's really good to talk to you. You know, first of all, I want to say this. You're as old school as it gets, being a drummer and being a front man.
Yeah.
And I have witnessed it, and I've seen you playing Rain, I've seen you playing whatever, and I watched you.
Came up and said hello. What are you, a snob?
Well, I know I am a snob. I'm sorry. I was enjoying the moment. I watch you back there. First of all, it's so old school. Second of all, you're always on time back there, and you're entertaining. I'm always in the front. Easier for me to see people, touch people. How do you stay connected with your audience, being where you are on the stage?
Well, if you look carefully on the stage, it might look like I'm in the back because I have to sit down and I'm a little lower than the other guys. But I'm actually we're all in one straight line across the stage.
I still got it, but you're behind all this stuff.
They can move around. They can move forward. There's only so much I can do.
Right.
And on certain shows, not like Jazz Fest where it's instantly packed, but certain shows, I mean, I did this when I played that thing in the Delta where I'll jump off the stage and just run around with a wireless mic and just do everything I can to get people into it, because it's all about getting them to celebrate the moment. It's not about us. It's really not about anything we're doing. It's about all of us kind of sharing whatever that moment is. And let's squeeze all the enjoyment and life out of it that we can for ourselves, you know?
Do you, bandmate wise, you guys have been together a while. I've had guys retire from my band, pass away, and then I've had still some guys, one's been with me 30 years, one's been with me 25, 120, and that's the one thing that I appreciate so much is where I can get on stage. There's never a time that it's ever old because these guys have helped me love it, continue to love it. Now I love it, but I grew up with bands that maybe I didn't love who I was playing with, or maybe they didn't love playing with me, but we weren't the right fit to live together on a bus forever, right? Yeah. And be on stage together. Do you feel like you draw from your guys in the same regard? Yeah. Just that relationship?
It's vice versa. We're all kind of feeding off each other, but we also make the audience part of the experience as well. It's not like we're just entertaining. It's like everybody's part of the creation of the moment. You know, there's like some quantum physics principle that says that, you know, no matter how big or small any particle or participant is in any sort of event or chain of events, you know, they have a definite influence on, you know, the effectiveness of the event. And I kind of always take that seriously simply because I've felt the differences over the years between, like, you know, it's not just quantity, it's quality. You want people that are there really involved in the moment so you can give your best, and vice versa so they can give their best.
Talking to Cowboy Mouth, Fred LeBlanc, like a great song title, every once in a while we'll come up with one that you can't screw up when you're writing it. You have a band name that sticks. Where did you guys come to arrive to that?
Honestly, it was the only name we could all agree on. It was the only name we all didn't hate. It was we needed a name. We needed a name for a show that I had already booked right when we got together, because I'm like that. And you know, the thinking was, okay, well, all right, Cowboy Mouth. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. And nobody hated it. Nobody who was in the band at the time hated it. So we thought, well, okay, we'll use this for the show and then we'll change it later. But then things took off really quickly. It was like, well, okay, I guess we're kind of stuck with it. And it kind of works. And over the years, it's proven to be pretty beneficial.
Yeah. There's no cowboys in your band though, right?
Actually, Frankie lives in Texas and he works
okay. So we got a Texas guy. Okay.
Frankie lives in Texas and he works on a ranch part-time.
Okay. All right.
Griff is from Ackerman. John Thomas is from Ackerman. His family's from Ackerman.
Wow.
He still owns some land up there. That's not cowboy, but, you know, it's country boys.
It's country boy. Yeah, I get it.
And our bass player, Brian, divides his time from Lafayette and the North Shore of New Orleans, Louisiana, and Poplarville, Mississippi. His residence is Poplarville, Mississippi.
Yeah.
And I've got family in Tupelo, and I go there every other week. So
I love just hear you told me that before we got on. I love knowing that you've got some ties here in Mississippi. There's something really that joins us musically. Obviously, Mississippi and Louisiana have this.
Mississippi, man. As much as I grew up, you know, I'm the only one in my family who grew up in New Orleans. All my family's from like the southwest end of the state, like sugarcane country, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. You know, I was the only one who was born and raised in New Orleans in my family, but I've always viewed Mississippi as kind of exotic because I grew up. I was turned on to like heavy Delta blues when I was a child because I worked in a used record store and I would find like music like Muddy Waters or Howlin' Wolf. Oh, this looks pretty interesting. You know, I was like 10 or 11 years old, put it on there and it just blew my mind.
Yeah.
It was like, it always kind of, you know, that music, that vibe always was kind of exotic to me.
I just made a record not too long ago with Cedric Burnside, and so I've been down here with these guys. Little Milton used to call me Little Azar, and it all the things along the way helped me, just get to the point where I could have a career doing it and still doing it. So I'm so grateful for these guys that you're talking about. Let's take a quick break right now. We are with Cowboy Mouth, Fred LeBlanc. Just incredible career. What a great guy. Superior Catfish is great as always. He can have it on his doorstep by tomorrow if he goes to store.superiorcatfish.com and visit Mississippi.org. I know he's planned many road trips to Mississippi. He does it to Tupelo and to see his family. We're going to be right back with fabulous Fred LeBlanc. Don't run away.
Don't let things slide. You can live through me. You can get through life. Around here, what I say goes. Out here, what I say goes. 'Cause I'm the coach. I'm the coach. I'm the coach.
You know that nowadays, most people go online to look at a business before they spend their money. Do you have an old, outdated website or just a Facebook page and still not bringing in customers? Targeted digital advertising from STMM Digital's highly trained and trusted staff is the answer. We're ready to work with you to help your business capitalize on the power of digital marketing. Call 601-991-2305 or go to stmmdigital.com to get started today.
There's still so much to say to you.
Rolling into a Mississippi Minute, I've got Cowboy Mouth, Fred LeBlanc on the horn. 34 out of 35 years at Jazz Fest that they have played, but the only reason it's not 35 is because one of those years didn't happen because of COVID. So he bats 100%. That's a pretty good batting average if you're playing ball. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of playing ball, over there by Hell State, not too long ago, we had the Ole Miss Rebels and a school around in Poplarville, Pearl River, up in that neck of the woods, and Hotty Toddy, Mississippi State Hotty Toddy, all national champions in baseball, all crazy, right, in the whole country. There you go. Go to superiorcatfish.com. Visit Mississippi.org. Celebrates the arts. We're the birthplace of it all. But I'm telling you right now, there's not a time that I don't go to New Orleans that I don't feel the spirit and feel just this incredible love and affection for a place that does have the best food in the world. It's the most authentic, and the music is just unparalleled. Giving me Fritzl's Jazz Bar late night, and I'm a happy person off of bourbon. Fred, so let's talk a little bit about the rearview mirror for you. You talk about growing up in New Orleans. I don't or can detect at this point, not yet, any sort of language barrier that you and I have. I don't hear you going Thibodeau and Boudreaux and all that. So you sound like a guy that grew up in Regularville, not New Orleans. So first of all, let's go back in that rearview mirror. I love to just figure out how you fell in love with music. Were you into anything else? Was your mom and dad or any other siblings doing it, that got you here today?
It's a long kind of road. I grew up in the suburbs of New Orleans, and I've got some family that talks like this, and I got family that talks like this, and I got some family that talks like this too, bro. So it's kind of like a hodgepodge. When I was born, this is an old story, but I was actually born deaf, and my folks put my head on stereo speakers just to try to get a response out of me because I was just kind of a lump just sitting there. Mm-hmm. And at about a year old, they put my head on these giant stereo speakers, which were fashionable at the time, and they would crank like the music they liked, which was like show tunes or opera or Italian or German opera or something like that. And that's where I learned to sing. Apparently I started singing before I could even talk. And they fixed my hearing when I was about 3 or 4, but music was always just my first language. Like I got a garbage can for Christmas one year, and yes, I know it sounds terrible, but my hero was Oscar the Grouch. And I just liked the way he told everybody off. He didn't have to clean his room. He didn't have to take any crap from anybody. So I asked for a garbage can.
You do know Oscar the Grouch was created about 9 miles from me.
I did not know that.
Well, the Muppets, right?
Yeah, no, Henson's from Mississippi.
Yeah,
right?
He's from Leland, right? Which is our neighboring town here. Yeah.
I did not know that.
See Kermit back there. Yeah. All right, so keep going. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. That's interesting. I'd forgotten that Henson was from
Oscar the Grouch was your guy.
Oscar the Grouch was my guy. Santa Claus brought me a garbage can at 5 years old, and I loved it. And one day I turned it over, and I went, boom, and I was like, oh, this is the way.
Now, are you hearing at this point a lot? But I mean, you've got your hearing back?
I got an operation when I was about 3. That I'd had blockage, and because my lungs were underdeveloped when I was born, they couldn't operate till I was older and healthier.
Okay.
So I could sing, and music was always just kind of a first connection with me. It was a lot more intuitive. You know how it is.
Yeah.
And then when I was about 11 years old, I got my second job, working in a used record store that just happened to be in the small town I grew up in outside of New Orleans. And my job was to alphabetize thousands and thousands of albums and singles, and I'd just play anything that sounded interesting. That's how I found Sun Records. That's how I found Chess Records. That's how I found Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, Jerry Lee, Elvis, the Sex Pistols. You know, anything that seemed interesting, I just throw it on there. It's like, oh, this is cool. This is great. You know, and so I really gravitated towards a lot of Delta blues simply because I couldn't relate to it on a personal or mental level, but I could relate to it on an emotional level because the emotions were so raw and there, and just being a kid, just growing up, you relate to those types of things because it's all about the emotion. It's all about the idea and the emotion making that connection with you, and I love that stuff.
I love you talking about that connection. I had an equal connection. So I've been writing about Mississippi since I was a little kid. And when I moved back, I could really see Mississippi a lot clearer after coming full circle, having kids and getting them out of Nashville and getting them down to the Delta, which would forever change their life in a positive way. They were inspired by this place. And then they fell in love with New Orleans like I did growing up. Yeah. My mom went to college there. My brother went to Tulane Med School there, and both brother-in-laws went to Tulane Med School there. My sisters lived there. It was the Saints were our team. That's where we went to watch them back in the Archie days when I was a little boy. So that place to me, and I've spent time writing and stepping over the boundary a little bit and writing about where you live, equally as inspired. By same. In fact, go ahead.
Equally as exotic too,
Well, no, exactly. And I fell in love with Sonny Landreth many years ago. He ended up playing on a couple of my records and I just was freaked out because I always wanted him to play on my records, but he cheated on me before I had the opportunity and was out with John Hyatt, and I was going like, that's not fair. He can't be playing there. This is my guy. That's how much I felt like that he was that when I first heard him. But there's something about you and something about Sonny and something about Louie and you guys and Branford Marsalis, who comes to my charity event. He's coming again this year. You guys are also authentic and unique. And I've always felt like you said something earlier about the feeling or about whatever, the sounds of howling and muddy and all that. We are able to draw from all that, but at some point we have to become ourselves. Well, you're very, 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 very unique and honest, but I can tell that, and especially through your pen and lyrically and stuff, that you are so inspired by that place. Could you imagine growing up anywhere else in the world and doing what you're doing?
I cannot. It's so much a part of what we were, are, and will be. It's just from growing up, being in Mardi Gras parades since the womb. The rhythms are different, the vibe is different, the movements are different, how you see the world is different. Growing up right next to a river that could basically swallow you up anytime it feels like it. There's this appreciation and reverence for the brevity of life, the shortness of life, how we're not, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that especially in southern Louisiana, especially in New Orleans, and I feel kind of a kinship with that sort of in Mississippi as well. The knowledge of the shortness of our existence in this world and the necessary steps that people kind of take to enjoy it and appreciate it. You find a lot of that in southern living. You don't find it as much around the rest of the country, but especially in the Southeast, there's a real appreciation for not only where you're going, but especially where you come from.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's places around the country. We've played you and I both played all over the country, and you look at Seattle, and you look at Rochester, New York, and you look at Boston, and the Midwest, in that area. Great. But there's something that we have that is just defined as its own little thing that you can't get anywhere else. I don't know what it is, but as they say, it's in the water, and we're just going to keep drinking it until they don't let us drink it anymore, right?
Yeah, I like the fact that in Louisiana and Mississippi, especially in New Orleans and especially some of the cities like Tupelo's the same way, and a lot of the Gulf is the same way. Is like, especially at night, those areas look like movie sets. They don't look like anywhere else.
Well, they are movie sets.
Yeah, pretty well. Yeah, I guess.
No, I love that. You just said it. You don't have to come in and decorate it or make it anything that it's not. You just go, there it is.
There it is.
There it is. Let's take a quick break. Fred LeBlanc, Cowboy Mouth. They have a new record coming and dropping. I'm going to talk to them about that. And also, you guys got to check out Cowboy Mouth. I know a lot of you are going like, we already know Cowboy Mouth, but just make sure you know that Fred's still doing it like he was 40 years ago. Speaking of 40 years ago, Superior Catfish, they've been around a long time. Go to superiorcatfish.com. There's catfish. There's Superior Catfish. 2 + 2 is 4. You got it. Visit Mississippi.org. We love our Louisiana. We love folks like Fred, and we're blessed to be their neighboring state. We'll be right back. I'm Steve Azar.
$20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
You know that nowadays, most people go online to look at a business before they spend their money. Do you have an old, outdated website or just a Facebook page and still not bringing in customers? Targeted digital advertising from STMM Digital's highly trained and trusted staff is the answer. We're ready to work with you to help your business capitalize on the power of digital marketing. Call 601-991-2305 or go to stmmdigital.com to get started today.
From the Seabrook Paint. In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Fred LeBlanc's my guest today. I think his wife is in the background like my wife's in the background. I both keep seeing them. Visit Mississippi.org, always the birthplace of America's music. Plan a road trip. Fred's got family. You got kids, or one kid, Fred, in Tupelo. 2 kids in Tupelo. You could visit the king of king of rock and roll, Elvis. That's him. I'm telling you, it's right there. And hallowed ground over there in Tupelo, and you're right back.
It's pretty wild how that vibe is still there.
Yeah,
but it doesn't overtake the city. It's there, it's present. That DNA is still all over town, man.
Oh, come on. And then Corinth, Slugburger, right down the street. Yeah. That's all I got to say. Visit Mississippi.org and so check it out and plan a road trip to Tupelo. And you can meet Fred's 2 kids there, which is awesome. Awesome. Fred, we're talking to Fred LeBlanc, Cowboy Mouth. Let's talk Hurricane Katrina.
Okay.
You were around for that. And so take me back to that, and then what that felt and looked like being a part of all that.
We were on the road. We had played the night before. It was a Saturday night. We had played an outdoor festival in Atlanta the night before. So we were on the road, and we were just going to ride it out, thinking it would just last a couple of days, because we'd gotten in the habit in Louisiana through the 90s. And the early 2000s of, it's coming, this is the big one, this is the big one. Oh, okay, everything's fine. And, we just assumed it would kind of
cried wolf forever from mill days, right? Yeah.
But then again, the way this storm kind of beat the hell out of everywhere else, it gave us pause. And I remember I was in a hotel room in Atlanta watching the coverage, just glued to the television. I'll never forget it. I was sitting there. It was early Monday morning, and the vibe was, okay, this thing is passed. New Orleans is fine. I'll never forget it. The TV reporter's like, yeah, I'm here on Canal Street. Everything looks fine. Everything's good. The city's fine, except there's a bunch of water around my feet. There seems to be water draining down the street. And I went, oh no.
You knew, didn't you?
Yeah, I knew. The levees had broken. It was just
oh my God. It was so sad.
So we were stuck out of town, but I had a buddy of mine who was I had a couple of friends who were pretty high-ranking officials in Jefferson Parish, which is like half of New Orleans. You have Orleans Parish, which is most of the city, but Jefferson Parish, which is basically, connects to Orleans Parish. They're right next to each other. And so I got in the city, I got in the city a few days later, but I was looking around, looking at the TV coverage because the helicopters kept flying around my neighborhood and showing houses exploding because of gas and flooding and all this stuff.
Oh my gosh!
Right in my neighborhood, but it was bad. But at the same time, I remember I was thinking, okay, I've lost everything, but it's okay because everybody's all right. Everybody I care about's all right. That's all just stuff. And I kind of made that mental separation. And then I found out later, a buddy of mine who was in town, who was a TV broadcaster, he just passed last year, a guy named Eric Paulson. He was actually driving around, and my street, while it was flooded, my house was raised, and my house was actually okay. So I was like, oh,
wow.
I didn't lose anything. I got lucky. But I also bought smart because, hey, every few years this place fills up with water. Perhaps I should buy a raised house.
No.
But I had already had that mindset. I'd already made that, how you make delineations in your mind. It was just like, okay, everything I have is gone. Okay. It is what it is, But everyone I know and love are safe. My family.
Man, yeah.
So I got back in town pretty quickly. One of our guitar players at the time, he wasn't as fortunate. He lost everything, but, they were insured. So it stinks to lose your homestead, but he did okay in the long run. Still a terrible and tragic thing to go through, but we tried to be supportive and everything. And but so many people I knew just lost everything, and it was such a mind altering event, a perspective altering event. It just totally just thwarted everything you thought you knew. And
we had casinos that were moved across the street on the coast.
Yeah.
They just moved. They were just moved, and we're moving you over.
Yeah.
The power of that hurricane and just the longevity of the winds. It was just unparalleled since Camille, right? Nothing since like that since Camille?
Camille. Yeah, it was Camille, 69, yeah.
Yeah, those are the two you bookend everything else with. Those are the guys.
You guys in Alabama got it worse weather-wise than we did. We got it because our levees broke.
Yeah, because your levees broke.
You guys got it worse, but y'all had the raw storm that just got
So inspiration-wise for you, do you come out of there with some content and songs that you're still playing to this day?
Yeah, I wrote this one song called The Avenue that actually did us very well. But it was kind of like I had this vision in my head of New Orleans being a friend, like a personification, a friend who had been in a really, really bad bar fight. And, and the idea behind the song was, yeah, this is terrible. Yeah, this is really bad, but it'll all be okay in the long run. We will all heal. We'll get past this. And the song actually did us really well. We played it on the Ellen DeGeneres TV show, the next Mardi Gras. It was on an album called Voodoo Shop. The song is on our Best of Cowboy Mouth, Best of Volume 2. And you come out of things like that, but you want to make sure that it connects with people on a real human level. And for a song like that, I didn't want it to be kind of the typical New Orleans going to party again, or, we're agree, because this happened. It's like, kind of had to be careful what you put out there. You had, it's kind of like, okay, people are listening because they need something. It's like, okay, you just need to let them know it's going to be okay. It sucks now. It's bad.
Yeah.
But it's going to be okay.
I love that. That's the spirit of you guys. And that's what, that's how you guys roll. City by a river. Let's talk now that we're still at the river and still in New Orleans and stuff.
Sure.
Let's talk about, that in particular. You and Mark Bryan collaborate.
No, I didn't write that song. It's his song. It's actually Hootie did a version of it that was on a mini series. Those guys have such an abundance of great songs, that this one just didn't fit into what they were doing.
I gotcha.
I always heard it was a great song. I cut it with Mark on a solo album he did, I think in 96, 95. Yeah. And I'd always loved the song. Hootie did a really strong version of it, for that mini series. I don't know if it's ever publicly released or if it's publicly available. I don't know the history of it. I had to YouTube it to find it and hear their version of it. But it's a great song about just either going home or finding home. I've always loved it. All four of those guys are just superb songwriters.
Yeah, they really are.
Each other creatively, and those guys were a real blessing to Cowboy Mouth in every phase of our career. They were just pals we drank with. It's like the first Cowboy Mouth show in South Carolina. Most of the audience was Hootie.
I think that's so funny.
I still remember
I was being sarcastic because,
true. It's true. It was like,
well, that's not a bad audience. I mean, they're like if there's such thing as what do you call electoral votes? I mean, they're worth like hundreds of votes each. So there was 1,000 people and there was just 5.
But they were just these kids, who liked my old band, and we became friends. We used to bring them to New Orleans and like South Louisiana and get them to open up for us, and then they'd bring us to the Carolinas to open up for them.
I love it.
We had a lot of fun. I gave Mark and their manager, and I think Dean, the key to my apartment whenever they would drive through and just.
Well, you got a lot of guts doing that.
Yeah, and Sony gave me a really good compliment, because it was when they hit it big, and they hit it big.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, for like a year and a half, they were the biggest band in the world.
In the world.
And they did us a solid. They took us out on the road to purposely get us a record contract. They took us out.
I love hearing that. That's who those guys are.
Yeah.
That's who they are. Hey, I want to continue to talk about that. Let's take a quick break. Fred LeBlanc, Cowboy Mouth. There's new music out. Check it out. And Superior Catfish. Come on. Homegrown and produced right here in Mississippi. Go to superiorcatfish.com and visit Mississippi.org. You know me. I want you to plan a road trip. We'll be right back. $20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
You can now watch SuperTalk Mississippi on your YouTube, Roku, and on Amazon Fire devices. Plus, you can now watch SuperTalk TV live on C Spire TV Channel 70. Just go to supertalk.fm/connect to find out more.
For a flipping good time.
And we're in too deep.
We got a short segment left in a Mississippi Minute. I've got the fabulous hit-making Fred LeBlanc, Cowboy Mouth, his band. Just really great guy. We're talking Hootie and the Blowfish Boys right now. I've been fortunate enough to be on stage with Mark we did some shows together, just me and him, before, back when they were sort of on hiatus. And also, obviously, Dean, I've spent a lot of time on the stage, but a lot of time on the golf course with Dean, and then have Sony, who I've written with in the past, who is a brilliant songwriter. He's the only one I've gotten to write with, but finally coming to the Mississippi Delta to do our charity event this year because he said he's an empty nester and there are no more kids to coach in soccer. So that's a good thing. Darius still owes me money from the last time we played, and until he gets on my show, I'm going to stick to it. So, Fred, I love that you're talking about that. There's something so endearing about these guys. You know, they do it with Javier Colon the same way. They do Edwin McCain and them. You, Drew, and Sister Hazel, and Ken and those guys. I love the fact that they are so comfortable in their skin that they want to help others, that they just love the music of others. It's really remarkable, and it says a lot about their character. I never had a charity event like we're in our 14th year, and maybe good Lord's willing we'll have you down sometime. And this, like I said, is Sony's first time. Mark and Dean have been here many years. They're the ones that I molded. Their authenticity in South Carolina Monday after the Masters, we wanted to be this authentic down here in the Delta. And I just sort of paid attention. And they also were very wise and helped me. They're just guys that want us to do good.
Yeah, they're very much of the pay it forward school, which is great now. And like, when they hit it really big, they brought Cowboy Mouth on tour, which is how we got our first record deal, which led to Jenny Says and all that stuff. And they're
you don't have to talk under your breath with one of your big hits there.
Oh, Jenny Says, yes, our biggest.
Of course, it was huge, huge.
And it was one of those things where 1 week they were opening for us in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a Cajun dance hall. And then literally 2 weeks later, we were opening for them in Hollywood at the Greek Theater for Springsteen and the cast of Friends. It's like
unbelievable.
Yeah, it was like, holy, what the hell? I remember that gig we played. I walked on stage while they were doing sound check just to say hello. And I'll never forget. It's like, Darius, what the hell happened? And I swear to God, he got wide-eyed and he said, I don't know what the hell happened. The last thing I remember was singing Let Her Cry in Columbia, South Carolina, and now I'm here.
I love hearing you talk about these relationships that were built so long ago and that we were helping each other. It's cool.
Yeah, it's because we're all kind of chasing the same dream.
Yeah.
And there's no rhyme or reason as to who gets where or when, and you just never know what's going to happen. It's really so much all about the experience. I mean, you think you're trying to get to a certain point, but once you get to that point, no matter what the level is, you keep going and you get to another point, whether it's higher or lower on the food chain. You keep going. You don't stop. You never stop becoming.
No, I love that.
You never get to a point and say, okay, I have arrived. It's like you just constantly move. And I think, the Hootie guys have always been very generous with their time, with their opportunities. I still owe those guys about $1,000 from when we borrowed money to rent a van from them back in 1994 when we were stuck.
You can give them to them in the next life. All right, let me ask you this. Let's jump real quick because we don't have a lot of time. I want to talk to you about your new record. You recut Fat Bottom Girls.
Yes.
And also the replacements Can't Hardly Wait. Let's talk about that.
We have a new album coming out in August. It's called Cover Your Ass or Cover Your Ass.
There you go. Thank you.
Because it's an album full of covers. And I didn't think we'd ever do an album again because we were just doing singles. It seemed to be kind of the way to go. And I didn't really want the hassle, honestly. And then John and I were talking about a year ago, John, the guitar player, John Griffith, he's been in the band since day one with me. And we were talking about trying to learn this Who song that he would sing at soundcheck sometimes. I was like, we should learn to do this. He goes, dude, we should do a cover album. And then I remember thinking, not really why, but as much, why not? It'll be fun,
Yeah.
And that's kind of, at this stage of my life and my career, if it's not fun, it's not worth doing, So,
why those two songs and the others? What got you? Because you're talking about, me and you have had a lot of covers that we've loved.
Yeah. But no real reason. That was the whole thing about this album. It's really haphazard. And I like that about it. Like we have a Who song coming out called The Real Me. Can't Hardly Wait was just something about like the mid 2000s just to spice up the shows during like about 2/3 of the way through the show, I would throw a song in that we'd never played before, like a cover or something like that some people knew, some people might know, just to see where we'd land, just to keep everybody on their game. And it turned out to be a lot of fun. And we would play songs like Come and Get Your Love by Redbone, TNT by AC/DC, Pistol Packin' Mama by Al Dexter, and one of the songs I would throw at him is Can't Hardly Wait. Here are the chords. Frankie, play this riff. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Okay, let's go. Boom, and just land where we land. And some of them.
I love it. Well, that's August, right?
That's August, but we just released Fat Bottom Girls as a single last weekend.
It's out now. Listen, we've run out of a Mississippi Minute. We'd have to go into New Orleans to have any more time. I appreciate you so much, brother. It's been great to know you. Blessings on your new record. Fred LeBlanc, Cowboy Mouth.
All the best, Steve.
Thank you, brother. Superior Catfish. It's homegrown and produced right here in Mississippi. Go to superiorcatfish.com. I'm going to get Fred to join me at Pearl River Resort one time and Dancing Rabbit, because that's a good place that visitmississippi.org loves to celebrate. It is glorious there to play a little golf. Who knows? All right, Fred, later on, my brother.
All the best, Steve. Thank you.
Blessings.
I'm Steve Azar. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them, where you can take your sweet time.
SuperTalk Mississippi Media Production.